money, and at gunpoint forced the governor to leave Ondo State. In all these three incidences, those carrying the orders are said to be acting on orders from above. The governor of Rivers State is being harassed by agents of the government, and it is my responsibility to highlight that harassment. It could be anybody. His is becoming a harassment too many.
You're welcome back to the Gavel. Now, the House of Representatives during the week summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, over the new capital base of 35 million naira set for bureau de change operators by the Apex Bank. Lawmakers are worried that the new policy will send most of the operators out of business and asked the Apex Bank to suspend the new policy, which members tagged elitist. Watch. Just on Monday, the 26th of June, the Central Bank of Nigeria reviewed its guidelines on the operations of bureau de change, which includes an increase in minimum capital requirements for operation from the current 10 million naira to 35 million, effective from the 15th of July. The Apex Bank's reasons for the review was to correct observed deficiencies in the operation of bureau de change in Nigeria, which they say have led to sharp practices in the foreign exchange market, check the depletion of external reserves, financing of unauthorized transactions, and dollarization, among others. But lawmakers at plenary kicked against the 25% increase and other reviews, saying it is ill-timed and will cause much more harm than good.
We have over 300,000 members, directly and indirectly, that earn a living out of the BDC business. Mr. Speaker, for us to get up in the morning and announce that a capital minimum base, which hitherto used to be 10 million, has by part been increased to 35 million, for me, speaks volume.
The mandatory cautionary deposit was equally reviewed from a huge, again, 3 million naira to 35 million naira, which shall be deposited in a non-interest yielding account of the Central Bank of Nigeria, along with the licensing fee from 500,000 naira to 1 million naira, and an annual renewal fee increase from 10,000 naira to 25,000 naira.
But some other lawmakers supported the policy with the argument that it will ensure greater efficiency and improve the power of the naira against the US dollar. Arguments not shared by the majority.
We have a new CBN governor who is trying to bring about change in the system. He has brought up policies that he thinks can at least strengthen the naira. There is need to give him a chance.
Every person must not own a BDC, but groups of people can come together. After all, it should be limited liability companies. And when you cannot afford 35 million share capital, you can do that together, working with other people.
The elections in Ekiti State has come and gone, but it is still a topic for public discourse on the role of electoral body INEC, the security agencies, politicians, and even political parties. Are there any lessons to be learned from the Ekiti elections? Well, we sat down with the chairman, Senate Committee on INEC, Senator Anduba, to get his views over the conduct of the elections in Ekiti State.
Like I said in the floor of the Senate, that we need to congratulate them, the chairman and the commission, for the wonderful job they've done for a free and fair, credible election. You know, they made sure that they put everything in place, going from the voters register to the voters card, to picking up the voters card and updating the voters card and everything, and making sure that in all the local governments, each and every one of them have a different code in the in the ballot papers, so that it made things difficult for anybody that wants to rig in any form. So they put everything in place to make sure that this was a successful and a free and fair election, and that's what we saw.
Now, some Nigerians have criticized the number of operatives, security operatives, that were sent to Ekiti State for the elections. Some say the number was too much and that the sheer number of security personnel sort of intimidated residents of Ekiti State. Do you agree with this concern?
I congratulate the security agents for what, great.
You don't think they were too much sent to Ekiti
No,
State?
because the same thing happened in Anambra. I mean, regardless, they sent a lot of policemen. With that, at least the people, that the electorate should know that they are free to come out and vote, that nobody was harassing. If the agents were harassing people particularly, then that's a different thing. I don't think there was any of such things that happened. You see, once you have that, the electorates will feel safe, knowing that none of the candidates will muster thugs to come and attack them. At least they are free to go and vote.
Now, your committee, you're the chairman, Senate Committee on INEC, and your committee oversights INEC. What has been your interaction with INEC, particularly as regards the 2015 elections? And what are the challenges facing INEC as of today in conducting the 2015 elections?
The major issues that INEC has is the funding. It's very important that we appropriate the right fund for them to be able to put all that they have in place, so the logistics they need, all the logistics they can get to make sure that we have a free and fair, credible election. Because with this Ekiti election, you can see that if they have been given what they are looking for, then the election for 2015 will be a very free and fair and a credible election. The problem they have is the fund, because with that, they're able to put all the other logistics, all the other things that they want to put in place. Like they will be able to build places where they can warehouse the machines that they use for voting, which sometimes these machines that do for the voters register, for the voters card, get heated up in where they are stored. But if they're able to be given money, they will build storage places that can house those things, so that when you want to use them, they will still operate the same way they operated when you got them the very first day.
How would you assess INEC's continuous voter registration exercise?
The voters card thing, it's a continuous one. You can go into your local government and get registered. What happened is that last time, some of the people that had registered or something, and they asked them to come and pick up their cards, and they gave them number of days that you can come to your polling unit to pick up the cards. And when those days passed, they now took those things to the local government. But the complaint is that some of them live in areas where they cannot, it will be difficult for them to access the local governments in order to pick up their cards. And then what happened last time was that INEC extended the days, and now they've put in the papers, in the media, the number of days and where and when they will come into different states for people to come and pick up their voters card, and then update the ones that needs to be updated, and those that they don't have, that have turned 18, although they have not done before, can still do the same. But all these things require money. You need money in order to employ people that will be able to mine and do those things, like the youth corpers and the other people that they've employed. They need money to be able to keep them and make sure that those things are done.
Now, you've mentioned funding as a major challenge confronting INEC as regards the 2015 election. How is your committee addressing this challenge? Well,
we've met the appropriation, and then we met the Senate President and the Speaker, and they promised they were going to meet the President so that they will make sure they provide adequate funding for them to be able to put all the logistics that they have in place for 2015 election.
Now, are you worried that the security situation in the Northeast would affect elections in 2015? Do you even think that elections would hold in these troubled states?
I'm sure it would be possible. I think you've forgotten that there was an election in Yobe that took place, and it came.
But that was a small election.
Well, it was a small election, but you see, when it's from small, you know what the big will look like, and that's what happened. So everything was put in place, and I'm sure at that time, everybody there, they all want to come and vote, and I'm sure the security agents are working with INEC. You know, the Professor Jega had said that he's working, in conjunction with the security agents to make sure that things are in place for that election. No, of course, that everybody, once you're a citizen of Nigeria and you live here, you must be very worried, especially what happened yesterday, because, you could have gone in there to look for something, and then, we must be worried, but all of us have to come together to work on this to make sure that, that the security problem in Nigeria is being handled by everybody. Everybody should be their brother's keeper. I mean, we should all, work together to make sure that this works, because you don't know where you will be or what will happen to you next, or a relative of yours can be involved in one of these things that is happening. So.
Now, the National Assembly is currently amending the Constitution as regards the Electoral Act. Do you think that this would be concluded in time for the 2015 elections?
Yes, we said we're going to do that, even in regards to the constitutional review. But then the amendment, we said we can take the amendment out and do that first, so that we can get it done. The constitutional review, the amendment can be done even in the next assembly. This is important. So I'm sure the Deputy Senate President, who is the chairman, location, has said that, we'll make sure and put everything in place to make sure that the Electoral Act is done and out.
Can you give us like a highlight of the key areas that?
No, there are quite a number of areas. One, they're giving INEC power to determine who the actual candidate is, and then the number of days you can sue after the election. There are so many other areas that we are working on to get things done.
Because the last time, some people have said there might be one or two contentious issues in the amendments, particularly one of the registration of political parties.
Yes.
With these contentious issues on ground, are you still optimistic that the constitution amendment of the sections that involve the Electoral Act will be amended before the 2015 election?
No, I said it will be, because we did that with what we said and what the chairman said, which is Deputy Senate President, is that we'll have to probably isolate the Electoral Act and work on them and make sure that they pass before the 2015 election.
An opposition lawmaker, Senator Benga Shafa, also aired his views about the election.
The All Progressive Party, Congress as a party, has again shown magnanimity through Governor Kayode Fayemi, that indeed politics should not be do or die. On the performance of INEC, yes, this election has been adjudged to be fair, but whether it is free, I have a little bit of doubt. A lot of people have said it is free and fair, but I have my own doubts in the freedom that has been expressed in this election, and it is just for one reason. The number of military men deployed to Ekiti resulted in intimidation and oppression of the people. At least some of our party people in the APC complained. Some people were arrested in the morning of that day. Well, that is not to say we should now discard the results of the election, because an average Ekiti man or woman or adult, let me say, testified to the fact that there were no incidences of violence. The election went on smoothly. They cast their vote for the person they wanted. So I must commend the efforts of INEC so far and hope that future elections will toe the same line in terms of the preparations coming from INEC, and then we play down on using the military and the law enforcement agents to harass ordinary citizens of the states that are going to hold elections in the next few months or few weeks. APC has always been a grassrooted party, but what really went wrong? The assessment and the comments of people, even from Ekiti State, border on the fact that we should pay more attention to we should not stop in our the growth, developmental, infrastructural growth. We shouldn't stop. But again, we must look at what are people at the lowest level. What do they really want? We sit down with them, we discuss with them. More than what we were doing before.
Now, this is where we call it a day for this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views or opinions on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us and see you again next time.